In this video, we will identify some of the PESTLE analysis and also every single study that we require to develop any single project. In the PESTLE analysis and also the studies, we will identify the political study, also the ecological, the social, the technological, the legal, and the economic studies required to develop any single project. We will hear about the students, how they spread, how they identify, and the importance of any single of the studies mentioned before. So welcome to this new video.
In the formulation of this project, there are several sides that we must consider for its development. The objective of this is that the project has solid foundation and that's viable for when the operational work begins. Within the study section, we have an outline known as PESTLE: political, economy, social, technological, ecological, and legal. All projects that we want to present must fulfill a minimally viability in all of these components. There can be one in which is not fulfilled because that will cause that the project couldn't be carried out. So if you're thinking of starting the construction of a project, consider the following indications. We will see the aspect to consider of the first three variants of the PESTLE outline: political, economy, and social scenarios within a project. It is said that a project is politically viable if its edges are focused on development plans. That of the evaluation of project, they should be looked for a relationship between their objectives and governmental plans, whether national, departmental, or district. Likewise, around public projects, they should be aligned with state police. Currently, for example, the national government is betting on an orange economy. Clearly, we can direct that effort with the symmetry of such policies. With the economy approach, what we seek to identify is that with the development of the project, we can meet needs such as reducing unemployment, or if our project contributes to the business formalization, or maybe with our project contribute to the increasing of the GDP, or there is a clearly positive tendency to the demand and we can create a division to export our goods and services. With the social approach, we can say that any project who is helping with solve poverty, hunger, or inequality of the people, then we have a clearly positive viability in this project. So take this on mind and you will have the best project.
I'm going to talk about the technical, ecological, and legal studies and their relevance to a project. First, it's important to mention that those studies are part of the PESTLE analysis, where we can find other studies such as social, political, and economic. The PESTLE analysis is a planning tool used to identify aspects that may affect the viability of the project. Then, having clarified this point, I would like to start talking about the first three phenomena. The first is the technical one. This refers to all the technological aspects that can affect the project and how the implemented technologies will affect the society and the environment around the project. This aspect refers to software, hardware, and so on. Depending on its results will determine the viability of the project. As a second study, we have the ecological one. This refers to all the environmental aspects that will affect the project. About these aspects, we can create strategies to guarantee that the project will not affect species, flora, fauna, animals, rivers, or sea. We'll try to reduce CO2 emissions, and we'll try to use water in a responsible way and any other resource. Finally, we have the legal study. This refers to all the legislation that must comply with the project, like contracts, health, or ecological, or any other kind. It's a very important study to consider because it determines if there are any restrictions. And likewise, all the legislation will change in every country that the project is planned. It's important to emphasize that the PESTLE analysis doesn't have any order. It means we can develop the project in the desired order. Also, it's important that all the studies have a positive and a viable response. In the contrary, we can develop the project.
know, there are 6 different studies we have to develop when thinking about making a project: political, economical, social, technical, ecological, and legal, in which our project has to be viable. But is it really necessary for our project to be viable in each of them? What if our project doesn't accomplish with only one of these studies? Well, the studies are the way to ensure the viability of our project. They are the solid base to start building, and it's a must for our project to be viable in each of them. Even though it doesn't mean that it's going to be a success just because it's viable in each of them, as there is always a possibility of failure. But failure is ensured when the project is missing one of them. For example, the project of the road that goes from Ciénaga Grande to Barranquilla. This road was built dividing the mangrove swamp between two sides, the side that is fed with the ocean's water and the side that is fed with the Sierra Nevadas rivers. But first, they were not enough, and second, they were not 100% functional as they got stuck, and this caused environmental damage to both sides of the mangrove. This affected hundreds of species, lowered the fishing activities, and as a matter of fact, affected the economy of the surrounding Magdalena's small towns whose life is based on the fishing activities. That is the reason why we have to dip into the environment of our project through the different studies so we can prove the viability of our project. We have to check the government and local development plans, statistics, population benefits, and also make the necessary studies in the areas that are going to be impacted.